Hey everybody, Derek here to bring you another video for The Walking Dead, countdown to the start of Season 7. I have finally moved back home. I've got all my things out of my apartment, and I'm now ready to upload some more videos on my channel as we count down to the premieres of Fear the Walking Dead, Z Nation, and The Walking Dead. These things should be coming around the corner, and I'm really looking forward to them. In this particular video, I want to go back to The Walking Dead Season 7 trailer and look at Carol's scenes and kind of figure out why is she reacting the way that she is. Is she maybe going crazy? Is she kind of becoming unstable? Or is there some other explanation for her scenes in the trailer? If you are not caught up with The Walking Dead and you do not want to be spoiled in any way, then I would exit the video now and come back later, because otherwise you will be spoiled. Okay, so when you look at The Walking Dead Season 7 trailer overall, it utilizes more imagery than it does, quotes or dialogue. It really is a trailer that is based mostly on the shock of a lot of comic book scenes, as well as just some other scenes thrown together because they can't show any with Rick and the group since they're in the lineup. And of course, one of the major characters that was not in the lineup was Carol. She was not amongst the individuals that might be killed by Negan because she had run off in episode 14, 15. It was kind of a crossover in those episodes when she left. And she ended up out on the road. She wanted to get away from the group because she didn't want to kill anymore. And of course, she ended up running into some saviors. She fought them. She killed most of them. She got wounded. And then Morgan, of course, found her. She ran off again. And then she ends up getting wounded by that last savior. She gets shot once in the arm and once in the leg. And then, of course, Morgan ends up saving her. And then the both of them are saved by individuals from the Kingdom, which is a community that is in the Walking Dead comic books and is going to be introduced in Season 7 as the trailer has shown. And we saw a couple of scenes with Morgan and Carol, but again, not a lot of dialogue. I mean, one of the first scenes that you see that's new in the trailer are the horses with Morgan walking by, and then you probably have Carol on the back of one of those horses near the front, so you can't see her. And then, of course, the next scene that you see, because, of course, you're assuming they're going to the Kingdom based on some things that are happening, you see Carol waking up on this makeshift bed. She's outside, of course, and she's bandaged up. Her wounds have been bandaged. And she wakes up and she kind of looks around in a shocked state, probably wondering what's going on. Where is she? Maybe she passed out in between from blood loss and shock. So, she's probably wondering what's going on. Then, of course, you see the Kingdom community itself. You see a bunch of people around. And then if you notice in this scene, Carol and Morgan are in the scene. It's kind of hard to see, but you see Morgan wheeling Carol on a wheelchair. And I'm assuming that what's going on at this moment is either they're getting a good look at the Kingdom community, they've been welcomed in, or they're on the way to see Ezekiel. And, of course, the big scene that many of us have been looking at is Carol sitting in some kind of seat, which I presume to still be the wheelchair, and she says the following quote. She says, "I don't know what the heck is going on in the most wonderful way." And she has this bizarre smile on her face. She's kind of got her eyes look a little, wide, and it's definitely a very different kind of scene. And many of us are wondering, well, what does that mean? What exactly is going on with Carol? Is she really, losing it at this point? Is she just being courteous and kind to Ezekiel, who I assume she's talking to? Or is there some other reason? Well, I think I kind of know what's going on, because really a lot of the things that they've kind of hidden in the trailer are more just things that you're not necessarily aware of. I don't think that they're really trying to trick us in this trailer. If you notice, all of the trailers, like season 3, 4, 5, and 6, all of them had some plot element that many of us thought might be happening, like the Terminus people working with Rick's group. They kind of set it up that way. Of course, you had season 6, where many of us thought that Rick and Morgan were going to be at odds, and they definitely weren't. They always tried to set up a plot point like that, but they really don't have that in the season 7 trailer. It's really just that you don't know what's going to happen. It's all really like an unknown element, but most of what you're seeing, I think, is realistic. It doesn't have like a hidden meaning behind it, in my opinion. So when Carol says this, when she says, I don't know what the heck is going on in the most wonderful way, I think that this is really a sign from Carol that for the first time since the zombie apocalypse has started, something has shocked her in a way that is kind of like how we get surprised or shocked when we see something amazing in the real world. Because when you think about the characters in the Walking Dead world, you think about they're obviously seeing very shocking, scary, disgusting scenes of people getting killed, blood, gore, the walkers, them decaying, all these things going on. They're obviously seeing very shocking things. And of course, there's always an element of unknown in the Walking Dead world, where you don't know what's going to happen next. You don't know if you're going to wake up and this is going to be your last day on Earth. You don't know if you're going to turn a corner and there's going to be bandits, there's going to be walkers, going to be some other kind of element that might be trying to kill you, hurt you, take things from you. And I think that really for Carol, this includes, of course, everybody else, that's really been the way that they've been living. It's really always this element of we don't necessarily know what's going to happen, and danger is around every corner. And I don't know necessarily if I can do what needs to be done in order to get the job done and survive. But I think that what's going to happen in this scene in particular, as many of you know, the leader of the community is named Ezekiel, and he refers to himself as King Ezekiel. And he's a very charismatic kind of character. He's a very, very interesting character. One of my favorites that has been introduced in the later issues of the comic books. And he has a tiger, a pet tiger, named Shiva, that basically is his companion. I mean, she doesn't attack him. She basically just walks around, does whatever a tiger does, feeds off of the dead corpses from the walkers. And I think that this is really going to be a moment for Carol where it's kind of like, what the heck? A tiger? Like, really? There's a tiger on a stage in front of me. What is going on? And I think that it's really just this shock for her. I think that really her reaction is just going to be based on the entire scene that she's going to see. Because if you look again at the picture, you can kind of tell that she's sitting in an auditorium. You see, like, it's a bigger room. You got seats all around. You got aisles and stuff. And, of course, the kingdom is partially based in a school. That is actually one of the many bases that it has. Like, it's pretty much a school, and then they've kind of built around it. They've had some tents, things like that. That's really where the kingdom is based, so it makes sense that she's sitting in an auditorium. And then if you look at the scene with Ezekiel and Shiva that is shown in the trailer, you kind of see that they seem to be sitting on some kind of stage, which is something that you would see in a school auditorium. So I really think that this scene really is more of Carol kind of being surprised in a way that she's never been surprised before, and not since the apocalypse has started. I don't know what the heck is going on in the most wonderful way. It's kind of like, wow, for the first time in a long time, I am like mystified. I have no idea what is going on. I'm sitting in a room. There's this guy up here on a stage calling himself the king with a tiger sitting next to him. This is like, Siegfried and Roy, I mean, what, is there a magic show that's going to pop up? I think that's what's going on in her head. in that moment. And I really have to wonder what this is going to do for her character. And I think that's really why she is reacting this way in the trailer. And that's what the scene means, that it's really just the shock of seeing a tiger sitting next to some guy and the tiger's not mauling him like the tiger usually, unfortunately, would. So I think that's really what it comes down to. Again, what does this mean for Carol's character in general? It's hard to say. I really don't know whether Carol is going to bounce back immediately, whether she's gotten over her feelings of wanting to die. Because, I mean, the reason why she, of course, left the community was because she did not want to kill anymore. It had gotten to her. She just couldn't go through with it anymore. And she realized, yeah, if I stay with the group, there's always going to be enemies that are going to come by, take things that we have, and we're going to have to defend ourselves, and I just can't do it anymore. But then she, of course, goes out on the road. She realizes being on my own is not an option either. There's still going to be these dangers, and I'm not willing to die and be killed, and I also don't want to kill. So in a sense, when the time finally came, she just wanted to pass on. And I don't know whether she's going to change that position right away, whether she's still going to be in kind of like this unknown state, or whether she's going to, you know, be very appreciative of Morgan, or maybe she's going to look around at the kingdom and perhaps she's going to see a different opportunity, maybe an opportunity to break from Rick's group, you know, maybe not to go back there. Maybe this is a more peaceful community. Maybe she's hoping that this is a new opportunity where she can, in a sense, reinvent herself, where she can stay away from all that trouble that's been going on with Alexandria. So we'll see what happens. I'm definitely interested, but I think that, again, what the trailer shows is really a realistic portrayal of the scene. I think it's just going to be shock that there's a tiger sitting on a stage with Ezekiel, and I think that it's really going to be an amusing moment for Carol, and I am very interested to see what her character will do next. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think I'm right? Is that why Carol is reacting the way she is? Do you think she's lost her mind? Is there another theory that you might have about Carol? Don't be afraid to let me know. Feel free to subscribe. I do have more videos coming. And if you have any suggestions for future videos that you would like to see, don't be afraid to suggest them. Have a very wonderful evening, and thank you very much for watching.